So, Charlie, what would you say is the best strategy to price your home to sell quickly in Greenwich?
Specifically in Greenwich,
Specifically in Greenwich, yeah.
I think you could probably use this in strategy all over the U.S. But if you want to sell fast, and I'm going to fair warn viewers, it's not necessarily a approach that you're instantly going to feel comfortable with. But if you want to know what works, quite frankly, being under market value works. The reason that works to get a home sold quickly and for top dollar is simply for the same reason that a buyer, any buyer, if you've been in buyer's shoes before, you know that you're sitting there, you're looking for something, it's a house, you can see value. That's really what it boils down to. You've looked at enough houses, at some point you see something, you go, wow, that looks good. You don't know as a buyer, like, hey, we underpriced it 100K. You don't know that. You just know it looks good for the price that you're offering. And so therefore you are compelled to go see the home. The energy of the buyers coming to the listing in mass, quite frankly, is a sales tool that you can't fabricate. As a buyer, if you're at a home and the open house is just packed and people are coming, you barely get in the door, maybe you have to wait, it sends a message.
Yeah.
I think if you're not a real buyer, you're the one that's frustrated. But if you're a real buyer, you're just waiting. You know what I mean? You're going to wait the 15 minutes. That's the house we really want. We looked at it online. We've looked up all this information. We've talked to our agent about the home. And now you're looking at the situation a whole lot differently. And that's what I'm trying to flesh out for people. It depends really where you are in the buying process. And when you're selling a house, we're always focused on the person who is serious about buying. And there is, if you've ever been a buyer, you probably know too that there's stages. You started at first, you're in a real learning curve trying to figure out exactly what you want. And then over time, you get more and more serious until you're able to pull the trigger on that particular home.
So the activity, it essentially creates the urgency on the buy side.
It does.
Or it's an element of it.
Yeah, it's an element. There's obviously a lot of
course.
components to a sale and to marketing strategy, but that's a big one that I think we can all easily see, and that is not, you can't fabricate, because I think buyers are out there sort of expecting, us to have some strategy when we sell a home. That's what you usually expect of an agent, and so they're prepared for that. But what they aren't necessarily ready for is the intensity of the buyers, and that sends a message, sort of like when you're online and you see 2,000 people left reviews and it's 4.7 stars.
Yeah,
it's an outside proof of success. But from a functional standpoint, how do you do that? You stay under what the value of the home is.
and you don't think that impacts the ability to get top dollar? So the competition that pricing under market value brings compensates for listing it at a lower price because it creates the sense of urgency and more activity.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's probably what is in the back of any seller's mind. I don't care, even if you're experienced, in the back of your head and your gut, you're going, what if I do this and then I only sell for less than what I could have gotten?
Yeah.
But the psychology of the buyer doesn't really work the same. And so you have to step into the buyer's shoes to really know this for sure. And if a seller can do that, I think they can. My experience is they could see how this strategy is beneficial. And typically what happens is the activity of the buyers in our current market conditions is pushing up the price. So in that case, you get fair market or better. But even if you only got fair market, we are certainly seeing a lot of scenarios where they're getting better, and that's how the prices are moving up right now.
Yeah.
But even if you were at fair market, this is in my mind, sort of a worst case scenario in this particular strategy. You're still selling faster. You're selling easier. You're
Relative
not having
to like pre-COVID?
to pricing high, and then
Okay.
essentially. Well, we could talk also why that strategy is the opposite of what we're talking about as far as effectiveness of getting it sold fast, of getting it sold for top dollar. But the point is that the energy of the buyers is better, and so oftentimes that is pushing the price back up to where you need it to be. Every strategy has got to be market dependent, and so we're talking to the moment we're standing in, and we're talking to our market here in Greenwich, not necessarily somewhere else in the country who may not be experiencing the same.
Yeah.
You would take a different approach in different markets, but this is one that certainly is an easy, useful tool if somebody want to know, hey, look, I've got to sell fast. That's how you do it. And typically you're actually getting a better or more than what you would have gotten in a different route. And that's really the key.